I wish I knew Brian's intro better. He's the man. He's the myth.
He's the legend.
He's the man with all the answers to all the questions. It's Alex's Science Corner. And I don't have the soundtrack. There you go.
That was good.
There you go.
Good, Bobby.
Okay.
So for today, 2 news stories that we've got. First up is, it looks like we have a second interstellar visitor that we've discovered. Astronomers have discovered that there's a comet that has come into our solar system. Because of its speed and its direction of movement, they figured that it came from outside of our solar system. Now, 2 years ago, you may remember me talking about it. We had Oumuamua, which is a Hawaiian word for scout. And that was the object that came in and passed by the sun and had some unusual properties. They had some guesses as to what it looked like. They could spot the object, they could guess at its shape, but they couldn't get too much. Couldn't get too much information from it because, unfortunately, they figured it out as it was starting to head away from the solar system again. This one here, they're catching as it's coming in.
Okay. Can we see it at night?
No,
you can't get.
You need a telescope.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
If you had a telescope,
if you have a telescope and you were to look, you would be able to see it.
And
You're
which part of the sky?
That you'd have to look it up in an astronomy site.
Okay.
You can probably look up and get its information for looking in a telescope.
Okay.
The thing about this is they know it's a comet. The Oumuamua, which passed by 2 years ago, that was a rock. They thought it might be a dead comet with all the ice that evaporated away. But the difference between just a regular asteroid and a comet is comets have a layer of ice around them. And as they approach the sun, this ice starts to sublimate off, forming a cloud around it. That's what forms the halo and the tail around a comet.
Okay.
And so this object is beginning to form the beginning of a tail, and it has a halo around it of material. So they've got an approximate size. It's between 1 to 10 miles long. But they can't get any more detail because it's surrounded by a cloud of ice dust. So it is a comet. It's got some dust. The plus side to the fact that it has some ice dust, they might be able to get a little more information from that ice dust as to the composition of from wherever it came from. Again,
well, how are they going to collect the ice dust?
Well, they're not collecting the ice dust per se, but as light passes through the material, there's a thing called spectroscopy, and how light passes through something, how light reflects off of it, how light refracts through the material. You can get some information from that material about how light interacts with that. Certain elements, certain molecules will block or reflect light differently depending on what the
and probably
material
send it in a different color scheme too.
Well, that's
depending on what mineral
right,
it
that's
is.
emissions, right?
Yeah.
It may reflect light in a certain way, and if you see certain reflection wave patterns, it's got that material. Alternatively, if light is passing through it and it blocks certain light, it has some other material. So hopefully they'll be able to get some information about the solar system it came from based on what they can figure out from that.
Okay. Oh, and the next story is interesting.
Is about electric eels, and biologists have found 2 new species of electric eels when they thought there was only just one species. Okay.
So that makes 3 species, right?
3
2
species.
plus 1 is 3.
Yes.
I can add.
Yes. I am very proud of you. Gold star for you, Bobby.
So where did they find these 2
These are all
species?
in the Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And the 3 different species are in 3 different parts of the Amazon. They thought that there's one species of electric eel across the whole Amazon. But after genetic testing, they figured out that's 3 different species. And once they figured out it's 3 different species, they figured out certain other facts about them. The species that is closest to the mouth of the river, because there's a lot more salt in the water, has a lower voltage that it puts out when it does its electric shocks. The species, and this is part of the reason why they put the story up, the species that is way up high in the river where there's lower oxygen has to sometimes gulp air to help it breathe because there may not be enough oxygen in the water where it lives. And also because there's not a lot of salt in that water. It has the highest voltage ever recorded that was produced by an animal. The electric eel from the northern part or from the upper part of the Amazon River can put out 650 volts of electricity when it does a shock.
Okay.
Now, because of the amperage, it's not enough to kill a human being, but it will hurt a lot. And it will stun a person. So if you are swimming in the water and you're stunned, you could drown.
Oh.
And all the biologists who have dealt with this fish say that getting zapped by this fish hurts a lot.
Okay, so just so I'm following you. So this fish, going back, it's got gills. It's a fish.
Yes, it's a fish.
But you said it gulps air too? So
yes, particularly the species in the upper Amazon. The reason is because in certain parts of the dry season, some of these wet areas that it's in get isolated from each other. And so there's no the oxygen levels in the water that it lives in starts to go down. And to supplement the oxygen that it gets through the water, it sometimes has to gulp air to get oxygen from the atmosphere.
I would have thought it couldn't take air in that way at all.
Well, this particular version of the fish has to do that to live in that part of the water. Mm. Now, it is not an eel. It is actually a fish. And it's a type of fish called a knifefish, or it's a subspecies of knifefish. And there's actually a lot of fish in the Amazon that have electric organs in them, and they use them to sense other fish in the area. But the main reason it uses the electricity is for two reasons. One is that it uses it for self-defense. If you got a crocodile or something, it'll zap the crocodile to scare it away. But the other is it uses it for hunting. The first part of the electric eel's electric attack is it'll send these short, sharp, very low power electric pulses through the water when the other fish are nearby. And that causes a jolt in the fish, and the fish that are jolted not stuns them yet. What it does is the fish, you know how you shudder if you hit a electrical outlet, mm-hmm. and that jump you have, fish jump also. And so that shock that the fish go through, it's very minor, but the electric eels can detect that change in movement. And once they've known that the fish are there and they heard them in a location, then they'll produce a massive shock to stun the fish, and then they'll go and eat the stunned fish.
So are they blind?
No, they're not blind.
Okay.
But it's a way of attacking and stunning the fish before you go in and eat it.
So the fish don't know that it's around, the eel's around.
Well, the fish may know, but again, it's a attack it can do from distance. It's like, why do other animals use venom to stun their prey? It's so that the prey isn't moving around when you're trying to eat it.
Okay.
Okay. The electrical organs on the electric eel take about 4/5 of its body. So the electric organs are a big, big part of the electric eel. And these eels grow to between 6 to 8 feet long.
Oh, they're not small things.
No, they're not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All righty. That's
all right.
electric eels. Any last comments you want to make?
No, do you have any last questions about electric eels or the
comet?
extrasolar comet?
I just one question. Do they have any idea at this moment how long it's going to be in our solar system?
I'm sure they're getting the math figured out. It's not going to be long. It's going to be at most a few months because of its speed and the way it's moving.
Okay.
But it's going to take time to move through. It's going too fast to stay in the solar system, and because of its angle going through our solar system, they know it's going to be leaving our solar system.
Okay.
That's why they know it came from outside of our solar system.
Okay, great. That's Alex's Science Corner for today. Thank you very much.
No problem.